Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing a new series where I take lipsticks from each decade and find drugstore dupes that are still available today. So the first decade that I'm going to do is the 1920s, and my main source of inspiration was a Besame Cosmetics lipstick that is historically accurate from 1922, and I wanted to take other lipsticks that resemble that color but weren't actually available in the 1920s. So this way you can find these lipsticks and wear them based on the decade. And I thought the best decade to start with was the 1920s, since the push-up lipstick tube was available in 1915 and women really started to wear lipstick in the 1920s. And in the 1920s, lipstick was like a dark reddish brown vampy color, in the early 20s especially. So I was in search of like a dark deep burgundy red that kind of has that vampy 1920s look. And if you're new to my channel, hello and welcome. My name is Laura. This is where I talk about all things vintage, fashion, and beauty. So if you love those things, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the big red button below. Also, please don't forget to follow me on my new Instagram account, Dahlias in the Attic. All right, let's jump right in and talk about drugstore lipsticks that resemble lipsticks from the 1920s. Alright, so let's jump right in and start testing out some of the drugstore lipstick shades. So I went to Walmart, out of all places, and found a whole bunch of different lipsticks that would work perfectly for the 1920s, and I used Besame Cosmetics 1922 inspired lipstick kind of as my main source of inspiration, and I actually found 4 different lipsticks that are all under $20 that work perfectly as a 1920s replica. So to start out, I'm gonna start with the Besame Cosmetics 1922. This is blood red, it's C225, and this is inspired by the year 1922. So I'm gonna start out with this shade because I think it works as a good base to kind of compare the other shades that I got. So let's start out with that, and I'll test it on and swatch it so you can see what it looks like. So as you can see, this is a very dark, vampy red, a popular color in the 1920s. I quite like it. It's really nice. It's a little bit expensive, so I wanted to see if I could find something a little bit more affordable. But I do love this color. It's very nice. It looks good on a lot of skin tones, and it definitely is a historically accurate 1920s color, as you can see. So I quite like it. It's very long lasting too, but let's see if we can compare a few other colors to this shade. So the next shade I'm going to test out is a Rimmel London shade, and this is number 124, and it's kind of like a dark burgundy maroon color, and it's called Bordeaux. So yeah, let's test it out and see what it looks like. As you can see, it definitely resembles the Besame color. So I'm going to go in and kind of compare it and see how it goes, and this is also a long lasting. I actually find it easier to blend than the Besame one because it's not as pigmented, it goes on smoother. So as you can see, this shade is very similar to the Besame one, and I believe this one was like $5. It looks pretty good. It's a very nice, vampy 1920s inspired shade. I like how smooth it is. It's very moisturizing. It has a nice sheen to it, and it goes on super easy. It's really easy to apply. I actually find that the Besame one, because the color is so pigmented and it doesn't blend very well, you have to be very precise. So this one is actually easier and would probably be better for more like of an everyday 1920s look. Alright, let's jump right into the next shade. This is a Burts B shade, and it's number 533, Orchid Ocean. And again, it's like a dark burgundy maroon color. So right away I'm noticing it's even less pigmented than the other two. So as you can see, this is a really nice kind of everyday 1920s lipstick shade. It definitely has that vampy look. I quite like it. It's very moisturizing. My lips feel super soft right now. I feel like the Besame one is a lot more drying compared to that, and just really pigmented. That's the only thing with the Besame one. It's really hard to apply and take off because it's such a strong pigment. This one goes on really easy and super smooth, so I quite like this one. And let's go into the next shade. This one is a Physicians Formula shade, and this is Nights in Rio. I've never actually tried a Physicians Formula lipstick, so this should be interesting and compared to the other ones. I am a little disappointed, to be honest. I think it's nice for like a daytime. It almost looks more 90s now that I'm putting it on, but as you can see when you're looking at it, it has a very dark pigmented color that you would think that would be a 1920s shade. It almost looks more 90s to me, like kind of that like brownish burgundy. So I feel like this one's kind of a no in terms of like historically accurate colors, just because it's not very pigmented, but it is very moisturizing and nice. So I quite like it, and I guess because it's more of like a lip butter. It has a nice color, but in terms for 1920s, I'd say no to this one. But I'm glad I tried it. I was definitely curious. It was pretty misleading because the color is very pigmented when you look at it in the tube. So I'm gonna say no in terms of historically accurate colors. But yes, if you want a nice moisturizing lipstick that isn't very pigmented, but just kind of gives your lips an overall nice color. And the last shade is a Revlon, and this is 477 Black Cherry. I swear Revlon's kind of my go-to. I always love Revlon. It's super affordable, and they have really good colors. I love how vampy this one is. As you can see, it's like a really nice dark cherry red. So let's try the Revlon one on. I kind of know what to expect with Revlon too. The colors are really nice. So Revlon, it just goes on smooth. The color's super pigmented. Alright, so now that I've tried on all the lipstick colors, I'm going to go through and see which ones I like the best. So I do like this Besame one because it is very historically accurate. It's inspired by 1922. It's a bit expensive though. Obviously the tube is beautiful. But I think the Revlon one is my favorite in terms of color. I love this vampy red. I like that it has a bit more sheen, like shimmer to it compared to the Besame one, and I find it easier to apply. So Revlon's my #1 choice for 1920s lipstick, and this is color is Black Cherry 477. And then I think a close second is the Besame Cosmetics one. And then I think after that I would do the Rimmel London one, color 124. And then the Burts Bee one is really nice, more of like a daytime 1920s look. It's very moisturizing. And then the Physicians Formula, it's just not dark enough for me. It's very moisturizing though, but it kind of reminds me more of like a 90s than a 20s, but it was a bit misleading because the color is very pigmented when you look at it in the tube. So it depends what you're going for, but if you want like a really nice bold 1920s look, I'd say either the Revlon or the Besame Cosmetics. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of this series. I thought about doing the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe even 80s and 90s, and just choosing different affordable lipsticks that you can buy that resemble colors from those decades. All right, I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.